this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the Alpine Cable Toque. The yarn that I'm using for it is Chroma Twist bulky weight. This is a bulky weight number 5, but it is on the finer side of a bulky 5, so if you have a heavy worsted, it may work for this pattern as well. So I will be using that. Faux fur pom-pom is what I'll be using to put on the top, and this is the snap style that you can get from Amazon, and I'll have links in the description box. I'll be using 2 hook sizes for this pattern, a 6mm as well as a 6.5mm crochet hook, and these are Furl Streamline hooks, and there'll be links in the description box with a coupon code you can use. The hat is going to be worked from the bottom up, so we'll begin with the ribbing, and now this ribbing will be able to be folded over, so this hat's going to be nice and thick and bulky. So I will show you how to do this. Is a single crochet in the back loop only ribbing, and we're working up a total of 60 rows for our adult size hat. So we'll be working with the smaller hook to make our ribbing, so our 6mm J size hook, and I'm going to be working up a chain of 21. And then we're going to work in the second chain from the hook. So there's 1, 2, work a single crochet in every chain across. So the total number of stitches will be 20. So I'll complete working down my chain off camera, and then I'll meet you up again. Once you've completed that, we're going to chain 1 in turn. Now we'll take a look at the stitch here. We'll be working in the back loops only of every stitch across. So the loop closest to me will be your front loop, and the loop farthest away is the back loop. So you're just taking your hook and going down through the center of the stitch, catching the back loop only, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. So our entire band now is worked in single crochets in the back loop only. The band will be worked at 20 stitches for every row. So I just want you now to repeat row 2 throughout until you have a total of 60 rows. So I've worked up my ribbing and I have 60 rows. You can easily count by 2s. Okay, so here, this ridge here is 2 rows. The next is 2 more rows. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60 rows. And now to join, what I'll do is chain 1, fold it in half, so now our right sides are facing. And to join, we will go through the back loop only, going through the first chain of that first row. So slip stitching across like this. So you'll have 20 slip stitches in total because we're working through each stitch of the row. So just complete seaming this all together with a slip stitch join, and then I'll meet you up again. So I've completed seaming this up the side. So now we're going to keep the seam to the outside because this hat will be folded. The band will fold up like this, and you can see that just seamlessly blends in. So you're not even going to notice that seam. Now, alternatively, if, first of all, this is a fairly wide band, you could definitely make less stitches and have it not quite as big. Or I just recently posted a bulky mosaic beanie in the same yarn, and I did a slip stitch ribbed band. And that would be much shorter, it would use less yarn, and if you're interested in using that instead of this style, you certainly could do that as well. And I will link that video in the description box if you prefer a slip stitch ribbing. Now what we'll do is chain 1, work 1 single crochet per row around. So we had 60 rows, we'll have 60 single crochet stitches worked around. 1. Now it's really easy when you look at your work to see what row you're working into, and this will just help as you count around. One row will have this thicker stitch, and then the next row will have this, just this little loop to work through. Okay, so just continue in that manner all the way around the hat. So I've worked all the way around. I'm ending with 60 stitches, and I'm going to change over to my larger hook. So I'm going to slip stitch to join in the first single crochet, and then we can switch off to the larger hook. The cables will pull the hat in a little tighter, so it's just nice to go up a hook size just so that the cables won't be pulling the hat in too tight. Okay, so now for round 2, we're going to chain 2. We're going to work a half double crochet into every stitch around. So this is setting up the round for the cables. So we'll just work half double crochets in every stitch around for a total of 60 stitches. Now we'll slip stitch to join, and we'll chain 2. And this chain 2 will not be included as a stitch throughout. So what we're going to do is skip the first 3 stitches. Then what we're going to do is work front post trebles into the next 3. So we're going to yarn over twice. Okay, so I'm looking at the posts here. So I'm skipping those 3 posts. I'm going to work into the next front post treble. So we're going to go around the post, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Yarn over twice, front post treble around the next post. And the next. Okay, so we're making 3 front post trebles, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to come back and we're going to work into these posts that we skipped. So we're going to yarn over twice, and we're going in front right now of the stitch. Okay, so we're going over top, working back into the ones that we skipped. So let's go back into the first skip stitch, completing the front post treble, yarn over twice, then we're going back to the next post stitch we skipped, yarn over twice, and the final one here that we skipped. Okay, so that's the easy section of the cable. Okay, that's the easy section. Whenever we're going over top, it makes things a lot easier. Now we're going to skip the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work front post trebles in the next 3. So just like we did the first time, this part's the same. So skip 3, so that's going into the 4th. Work through these ones a little bit quicker. Okay, so we've worked 3 front post trebles. So this is what's a little bit tricky. I'm going to try my best to show you so you can see exactly what I'm doing. We're going back now into these 3 skip stitches, but we're going to go in behind this time instead of in front. So to go in behind, you can just push your work down to the front like this, and then you can see those stitches. Okay, so you're yarning over twice. We want to go back 1, 2, 3 into that first skipped stitch right here. Okay, so you're going to take your hook, you're going to go around that post, pulling up a loop, and we're going to complete the front post treble. Okay, now we'll yarn over twice. Again, you've got to kind of push your work. They're going to get, those little stitches are going to be hard to find. You just got to feel around for them. So this is, we've still got 2 skip stitches. So we're going, see, we're going in behind these trebles. We're going in behind our work. So 1, 2, and we are going around that post right there and completing the front post treble. So yarn over twice. We've got 1 more stitch in there that we haven't got. We're going to go down and we're going to get it. Okay, so what that's going to do is we're going to have these stitches. It's just how the stitches are going to look, okay? So if we went all the same, they would all be going the same direction. This is going to give us a little more interesting look, and I just like how the finished look of having them go opposite. So now we're just repeating that, and that's going to go all the way around in this repeat. So we're just going to repeat now exactly what we started with. We're going to skip the first 3. So yarn over twice, skip the first 3 stitches, going into the 4th. Front post treble in the next, and front post treble in the next. Now we're going to go back into the skipped stitches and we're going in front again. So we're alternating that. So yarn over twice, we're going to go back into the first skip stitch, going over top of the work. Yarn over twice, going around the next post, completing our front post treble, and 1 more. Then we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, yarn over twice, and front post treble into the next 3. Okay, and then we're going to go in behind this time and catch the 3 stitches that we missed. Okay, so I'm going to just pull my camera in even closer, and I'm going to go through it one more time with you. Okay, so I'm nice and close. Always with our front post treble, we're yarning over twice. Push your work forward just so you can see our 3 skip stitches. There's the first one. So we're going to go, keep those loops on the hook. We're going to go down around it. Complete our front post treble. Yarn over twice. Let's pull the work here so we can find our next stitch, which is right there. Yarn over twice. There's going to be 1 more stitch tucked in there. Okay, and now we're just going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, so I've worked all the way around. I'm ending with the cable that goes in behind. So I like to just double check I've done them right. I'll go over, under, around. So now, because a 12 stitch repeat is pretty big, my repeat for the hat is only 6 stitches. So that means some of them aren't going to end exactly how I like, but it's just the nature of the pattern. So for our larger adult size, you are going to be ending with, we'll do 6 more stitches. So you'll be ending with the same as what you start. So you'll be working in front, so an over stitch. So it won't line up as perfectly at the back. And for the child, that will be the same. It will end that way. But our baby and our regular adult size will end with going in behind the under. So those are the preferred hats, would be the baby and the adult, but the other ones still look good. I would just suggest keeping that section to the back of the hat where you're not going to have alternating. Okay, so once you get all the way around, what we'll do is we're gonna find that first front post treble stitch. So here's your chain, here's the top of the stitch. We'll slip stitch into the top of the stitch to join, and then we'll chain 2. So round 4, I like to think of it as the straighten out the cable round. So this round, we work every stitch in front post double crochets. So we'll yarn over, go. So these first stitches are going to be in behind, okay? So those are the ones that are tucked in that you want to find. So we've got 3 of them. Front post double, so we're yarning over, going around the post, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've got those first 3. Then we're coming to the 3 stitches that are over top. Okay, we'll do 3 front post doubles. Now this time we're coming to the stitches that are over top. So 1, 2, 3, and then there's 3 that are tucked in behind, and we need to get all 3. So count as 3s as you go, making sure you're getting all of the stitches, that you're not missing one. And then these ones, they're tucked in, so we need to pull them out and see all 3 of those stitches. 1. I think if you don't count, it would be easy to potentially miss one, so just make sure you count as you go around. So this is all round 4 is just front post doubles. So I'm going to continue working that all the way around, and then I will meet you up again. So now once you've worked all the way around, we're going to find that very first front post double. So we're not slip stitching to the chain. You want to go under the stitch and slip stitch to join. Chain 2. And now the pattern basically repeats itself. So we're repeating round 3 and 4. So we're going now on to round 5. And I'm going to work through round 5 with you, but it is just a repeat of what we've already done. So we're going to yarn over twice. We're going to skip the first 3, work the next 3. Front post trebles. Okay, and now we're going to go over top, same as we did the last time around. We're going to go over for the first set. So yarn over twice, going back into the first skip stitch, front post treble in the next skipped stitch, and in the next. Okay, so now you can see how our cable's twisting together. So what we're going to do is yarn over twice, we're going to skip the next 3 and work a front post treble into the next 3. And this time we need to go in behind. So we're going to again push your work forward so you can see those 3 skip stitches. 1, 2, 3. We'll yarn over twice. We need to come back into that first one, round the first one, complete the front post treble, and work front post trebles now into each of the next 2 here. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this round now in as much detail because I worked through it slowly with you already. Okay, so then you can see how that's coming together, and just repeat this now all the way around the hat. Okay, so I've worked that all the way around. I'm going to slip stitch in the top of the first front post treble to join. I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm repeating round 4. So we're working front post double crochets into every stitch. So I'd love to know what you think about these cables, if they're too tricky, if they're easier than you thought. Love to see if you're getting the hang of doing these cables. Now, this is normal that we're gonna have spacing, okay? That's just the nature of this cable. It's the way it's gonna look. This hat is really thick overall and bulky, so for myself, I'm okay that that is having some spacing like that. It's just the nature of this cable. So I am going to continue working my rounds now off camera, and I'm going to meet you back up to show you how to finish off the hat once you get your desired number. Just follow along with the pattern, and for however many rounds you need to complete, work those up, and then we'll meet back up again. Okay, so I've been working away at my hat, and I'm going to show you how to count. So I ended up doing 14 rounds total for the regular adult size. So the large adult, you would go up to 16. And this is easily how you can count. Looking at your cables here, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And we started with the cabling at round 3, so I had 2 rounds prior to that. So I have a total of 14. So I'm ending on the front post double crochet round. So again, as you can see, just count the curve of your cables up by 2, and that will help you to keep track of how many rounds you've done. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 in total. So now what we're going to do is a decrease round before closing the top of the hat. And to do that, we'll chain 2. And I'm going to skip every other stitch. So we'll do a front post double crochet in the first. Then I'm going to skip the next stitch and a front post double crochet into the next. Skip the next. Front post double crochet in the next. And this is all we're doing for this round. So we're just skipping every other stitch. Just to decrease our hat slightly before we close up the top. So I'm going to complete that around, and then I'll meet you up at the end. Okay, so we're going to be ending with a skip stitch, and so we've reduced our stitches by half. So from 60 to 30, we can slip stitch into that first stitch to join. Then I'm just going to fasten off with a tail. To weave the top of the hat. Okay, and now to weave the hat, we're going to weave the tail through to close the top of the hat. So I'm going to work through every other stitch. So just go through every other stitch around. Okay, and then what we can do is just pull that, and you can see it's not really going to fully pull the hat in. So what you'll want to do is continue to weave through with your yarn needle just around those loops. Just keep weaving, and the hat will pull in tight at the top. So you want to just keep weaving around. until it cinches in nice and tight, closing up the top. Okay, so once you're happy, you're going to weave back now in the opposite direction, and this will secure your tail. So weave back in the opposite. You can always go back again in the opposite direction, just so you're sure. You don't want the top of your hat coming undone. And then once you're satisfied, just give that a trim. Okay, so I like to have my seam at the back of the hat. Then we can add, you could leave your hat just like this, but I would like to add one of my personalized tags. I get these from brickbubble.ca. And the leather rivets I purchased from Amazon. You can also get tags on Amazon, Etsy. So I will have a link in the description box on where you can order these. If you have a logo, you can have one put on or just a generic tag. And you want to hammer those in place. I purchased a kit that includes all the tools that you can line up and then just hammer that so that it doesn't come off. And finally, I like to add a pom-pom. So I have the snap style pom-poms. So what I will do is sew this to the top of my hat. You just want to find a needle. I use a larger yarn needle to sew mine. You just need to be able to get through the holes. And I purchased my pom-poms from Amazon, and I'll have a link in the description box on where you can purchase. So now your pom-poms, to get them looking really nice, you want to give them a nice blow dry on high heat, and that will just fluff them up. And even after wearing your pom-pom for a while, if it's starting to look a little ragged, just give it a blow dry and that will So here is my finished adult size hat. I've also made a baby here, and if you go over to the blog, I will have the sizing from baby to large adult over there. And if you purchase the PDF, I've also included a button-up ribbed cowl pattern as well that matches the hat, making it a really nice set for winter. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.